Hey there, and welcome back to The Useless Show. Today, I've got 20 of the weirdest geography facts that'll make you look at the world a little differently. From borders that make no sense to place names that sound totally made up, we're covering it all. Now here's a fun challenge. As you watch, count how many of these places you've actually heard of before. If you know more than 5, you're officially a geography genius. Let us know your score in the comments, and let's see who can claim the title of Ultimate Geography Master. Let's start with a town where you can literally step from one country to another just by moving from one room to the next. Barle-Hertog and Barle-Nassau sit on the Belgium-Netherlands border, but the boundary here zigzags right through buildings. Some houses have 2 postal codes, and you could easily walk from Belgium to the Netherlands by crossing a doorway. It's as close as you get to international travel without a passport. Imagine looking across a short stretch of ocean and seeing tomorrow. That's the strange reality of the Diomede Islands in the Bering Strait. One island belongs to Russia, the other to the US, and they're separated by just 2.4 miles. But here's the twist. Because of the international dateline, one island is a full day ahead of the other. It's literally tomorrow, just across the water. Some land is so remote that nobody even wants it. Between Egypt and Sudan is a strip of desert called Bir Tawil, and it's one of the few unclaimed places on Earth. Neither country wants to claim it due to border disputes elsewhere. So it just sits there, technically up for grabs, but offering little more than a lot of sand. Standing on the peak of Mount Everest means you're not only on top of the world, you're also in 2 countries at once. The summit marks the border between China and Nepal, so climbers who reach the top are literally at the highest point on Earth while straddling an international line. Talk about double bragging rights. Now imagine a piece of Russia, tucked away in Europe. Kaliningrad is a small exclave sandwiched between Poland and Lithuania. It's part of Russia, but completely separated from the mainland, giving it a unique mix of Russian and European culture. It's like a little island of Russia on land. Borders can be confusing, but the world's place names might be even stranger. Let's check out some towns with names that you won't believe are real. How would you feel about living in a place called Dull? In Scotland, there's actually a town named Dull, and to make things even better, it's twinned with Boring, Oregon in the United States. Together with Bland, Australia, they form what locals call the Dull and Boring Alliance, proving that even the quietest towns can have a sense of humor. This next town took its name from a radio show. Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, got its unusual name in 1950 when a popular game show promised to visit any town that renamed itself after the show. They took up the offer, and the name has stuck ever since. Imagine saying you're from Truth or Consequences. Welcome to Hell. No, really. There's a small town in Michigan called Hell, and they lean into it hard, especially around Halloween. They even have an ice cream shop called the Crematory. Hell might just freeze over in winter, but the locals seem to love it. Some explorers in New Zealand discovered a windy, desolate island and decided to call it Disappointment Island. They found it had no resources and no real value, so they named it after their biggest feeling, disappointment. I mean, you really have to admire the honesty. When in doubt, keep it simple, right? There's a town in Colorado that took this idea to heart, naming itself No Name. It's like the town just gave up and went with whatever popped into someone's head at the time. It might not be the most creative name, but at least you'll remember it. From strange names, we're moving into some of the most breathtaking and odd natural wonders our planet has to offer. These places are like nature's own art gallery. Here's one for the adventurers. Deep in the Pacific Ocean lies Point Nemo, the most isolated place on Earth. In fact, it's so far from land that astronauts in the International Space Station are often closer to it than anyone on Earth. It's the ultimate spot for solitude, if you can get there. In Australia, you'll find a lake that looks like it's been dyed pink. Lake Hillier is famous for its bright pink color, which comes from a unique mix of salt and algae. It's perfectly safe to swim in, but it really feels like you're diving into a bottle of bubblegum. Imagine a fiery pit that never goes out. That's the door to hell in Turkmenistan. This giant gas crater has been burning continuously since 1971, when scientists accidentally set it alight. It's become an unlikely tourist attraction, with people coming from all over to witness the fiery landscape. The Salar de Uyuni salt flats in Bolivia are the world's largest mirror. When it rains, the salt flats create a perfect reflection of the sky, making it look like you're walking on water. Photographers from all over the world flock here to capture its surreal beauty. Want to experience the feeling of rolling uphill? In Canada, there's a place called Magnetic Hill where cars seem to defy gravity. It's actually an optical illusion, but it's so convincing that it's become a popular tourist spot for people who want to feel like they're bending the laws of physics. Nature can be quirky, but so can countries themselves. Let's look at a few places that have taken uniqueness to the next level. Mongolia is a country of wide open spaces and not many people. It's actually the least densely populated country on Earth. Here, there are more horses than people, and the wide open steppe gives it a peaceful, almost otherworldly feel. Iceland has a unique bragging right. There are no mosquitoes on the entire island. Thanks to the cool climate and unique environment, mosquitoes just can't survive here, making it the perfect place to escape those annoying summer bites. Forget tropical beaches. Canada is the country of lakes. It's home to over 2 million lakes, accounting for about 60% of the world's freshwater lakes. With that much water around, you're never far from a lake view in Canada. Singapore takes cleanliness seriously, so much so that they banned chewing gum. Unless it's for medical use, you won't find gum for sale here. It's one of the ways Singapore keeps its streets spotless and earns its reputation as one of the cleanest cities in the world. And finally, let's talk about Uzbekistan and Liechtenstein. These two countries have a rare distinction. They're both double landlocked. That means they're landlocked and surrounded entirely by other landlocked countries, making a trip to the ocean quite the journey. And that's a wrap on 20 ridiculous geography facts. Hopefully, you learned something new, had a few laughs, or even found a new travel destination, if you're brave enough for Disappointment Island. If you enjoyed these facts or have your own to share, drop them in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another dose of useless knowledge here on The Useless Show. Catch you next time.